Welcome, friends of justice and aspiring police cowboys. Today we will dive into 1993 with one of the interactive masterpieces of the time, designed for those who have always felt a bit like McClane and a bit like Rambo. I'm talking about Crime Patrol for 3Do, a game that gives you a badge and a gun, or rather, a light gun, and throws you into the middle of a world of pixelated crime without rules. Get your virtual badges and get ready to laugh. Crime Patrol is one of many FMV titles from the 90s, a time when games tried to be movies and movies tried to be decent. This masterpiece is born from the lethal mix of live-action clips and light gun technology. Yes, 3Do asks you to become a sort of super cop who will have to face absurd criminals and ridiculous situations, shooting at the screen in the most real way possible.
Let's talk a little about the gameplay, if we can call it that. You're shown pre-recorded footage with, let's say, buff actors, and the goal is to hit the bad guys before they shoot you. Now, imagine the tension, you sitting on the sofa, light gun in hand, while a 2-bit criminal enters the screen shouting as if he had just discovered his name in the cast list. And you, who should feel invested in justice, what do? Obviously, you shoot. You shoot the bright spot on the screen, and that's it, the law is served. Let's talk about the merits. Why yes, there are advantages, and they are there for those who know how to appreciate them. First of all, the FMV graphics which, by the standards of the time, are almost decent. The game gives you a few laughs and makes you feel part of a Hollywood production, but the kind made in Uncle Bob's garage. And then, come on, the adrenaline of saving the world with a click of the light gun has a vintage charm that only those who played in the 90s can understand. And, listen, there are 4 career levels in Justice. You can start as a humble street policeman and reach bodyguard levels, and beyond, a sort of accelerated career in the most dangerous departments of the city.
And now, friends, here comes the fun part. Let's talk about defects, which are almost the real protagonists of Crime Patrol. First of all, the controls. Your viewfinder seems to have a life of its own, and sometimes it decides to go and make its own coffee when the bad guy enters the scene. And the dubbing, guys, it's Oscar-worthy. Lines delivered as if it were a school play, with actors that make you wonder if someone paid them in meal vouchers. Let's not forget the sound effects. They sound like gunshots, finger snaps, and screams that should have been ferocious, but sound more like a cat meowing for food, all enhanced by a soundtrack that makes you feel like you're in a second-rate action movie, another second-rate planet. The missions are more absurd than the other. You start patrolling deserted streets and little by little you enter risky situations, like shops where everyone seems to be waiting for your mistake. Then you move on to expert levels where they put you against criminal bosses, armed to the teeth, but with the aim of a potato. Let's say that it makes the worst villains of a Z series look like evil geniuses. And the scenarios are a mix of urban settings, appliance shops, and garages with soft lighting. In short, a truly classy metropolitan experience.
The light gun is the weapon of choice, and without it the game loses almost all meaning, so, you might say, not much changes. But, be careful, if you are good enough not to go crazy about the timing of response of the game, you'll notice that the difficulty rises quickly. Shooting at the right moment becomes a sort of frustrating minigame, especially when the crosshair jumps around like a crazy rabbit. Yo, longevity! Friends, if you can stand Crime Patrol for more than 10 minutes without throwing the light gun out the window, you're a real hero. But there's no denying the nostalgia factor. Seeing these actors trying to be bad guys, these scenes worthy of an 80s sitcom, offer a bit of healthy melancholy. Of course, not the kind that makes you feel like a child again with tears in your eyes. Rather, it makes you ask, but was this really the future of the world? Gaming.
Think about it. Someone looked at this project and said, yes, this is exactly what the world of video games has been waiting for. There is a hidden lesson in Crime Patrol, a lesson that teaches that even if you have an idea absurd, the important thing is to finish it. History won't remember the failures, or maybe it will, but at least we can have fun telling them. So, guys, I recommend Crime Patrol for 3Do if you're looking for an alternative justice experience. Or if you simply want to see how bad an FMV game can be. Oh, and remember, every time you shoot, a virtual cop somewhere is probably laughing at you. Thanks for being here today. Subscribe, leave a like, and tell me if you've ever played this 3Do gem or other FMV masterpieces. See you next time, always here to save gaming and your size.